ICAD, Index Card Any Day, Days 7 and 8. For Day 7 and Day 8 of the Index Card ICAD, I decided to work with a technique I fondly call my embossed drippage technique. I first used this on my Missing Pieces Altered book page. There, I used UT, Ultra Thick Embossing Powder, on the altered book page. Here, I'm curious to find out how regular embossing powder will work with the embossed drippage effect. Well, what I discovered is that it was very hard to handle the index card and the heat gun at the same time without burning my fingers. So I think I did not get the embossing powder to flow as drippage as much as I would have liked. But I am continuing to explore this technique. I do like how the cards for Day 7 and Day 8 turned out in the end. Hi, I don't know if you remember, if you saw the video a couple of videos ago where I worked on the missing piece where I did some embossed drippage, and I used glycerin and ultra thick embossing powder, and I did embossed drippage on my page. I want to experiment with that same technique some more in my ICAD, my index card Any Day. I want to experiment with it with embossed drippage, but I want to not use the ultra thick. I just want to use the regular embossing powders. So I am going to work on my ICAD for days. Okay, I'm working on Day 7 and Day 8 of my ICAD. The very first thing I do is paint the back with a copper metallic. The front is already coated with black gesso. Now I'm working with a technique that I'm fondly calling embossed drippage. This is something that I experimented with in one of my altered books, and I thought I would try it on these index cards. I like the effect here, and it does start to emboss the drippage, but I'm finding that the index cards are very hard to handle because they get hot. That heat gun, it's very hard to hold them, so I can't get the slant on the drippage like I want to. I do try at one point to tape them down with painter's tape, and that works to some extent, but I think that the index card itself is preventing me from getting the drippage that I want. I use some Ranger's Distress Powder on there, and it's here again, it's not dripping like I want it to, but I do like it on there, and I decide to use some red on the background too to give it some color. So it's a very messy process. That glycerin is very oily, so I'm having to wipe it up several times and clean it off, but I do like the effect. Now I am working with some scraps of Graphic 45 couture collection. I made some cards and I have a lot of scraps left over and I don't want them to go to waste, so I'm just putting them on these little index cards. I'm doing some fussy cutting of the little ladies on there, and I tore out a phrase, ooh la la. I have a paper towel that's been painted that I had left over from another project, just a scrap towel, and I'm using that as a background. The tissue kind of borders each one of those little elements, and it gives the index card very much a French theme. And so I'm doing that on all three of my little Graphic 45 elements, and placing them on the page, deciding where I want them to go. I have plenty of that tissue paper. I find that it's a double sheet, so I have plenty left over to work with. Now I'm just gluing my Graphic 45 elements down on the page. Very happy with how that came out. I get out some blue metallic and put it on the back of the card and kind of blush it off, and use some more of that painted tissue on the back, just because I like to do something on the back. I do sign my cards on the back. Here I'm just drying it off, Mod Podging everything down, and then I'll set it aside to dry and start working on the other one. Here I think I'm going to do some drippage, but I just kind of splatter that glycerin around on the card and knock off the embossing powder and do it again, and then I start to heat it up. But that index card is really hard to handle. It gets hot fast. So, and doing this embossed drippage is a very messy process. You can see there on the paper that I have at the bottom that glycerin is very oily. So you'll want to, if you do this, if you experiment with embossed drippage with glycerin, expect a very messy process. But that's fun. That's one reason why I like to do it. I get out some ultra thick embossing powder and think that that will drip better. But I think because I've already embossed part of it, it just kind of blows right off of my page. I am able to control some of it to get some drippage on there. I am happy with that to a certain extent. I like the back a lot better than I do the front. I wipe everything down, buff it all off, buff off all the glycerin, and clean up my mess again. I clean up my mess several times with this project. Now I'm getting out all my elements again, cleaned off both of the cards. I'm going to work on the back of them. I sign the back of each card, and here I am edging the border of one of these cards with red metallic paint. This other card, I crinkle it all up and to get a very distressed texture, and I'm using StazOn on that to bring out the wrinkles and everything. That's very much a mixed media technique. I'm thinking that I'm going to do some rub-ons on there, and the rub-on does not like the crinkled index card, so I rub it onto a piece of paper that I already have a scissor stamped on. Then I just kind of tear it off around the circle and grunge it up with my StazOn. Tear out the scissors, because I might as well use the scissors too, and glue everything down. I also distress that graphic 45 lady and glue her down, and the scissors. Now I tear a portion of that index card off at the bottom, and no worries, I just get out some 7 Gypsies gaffer tape, kind of distress the front of it to blend it in, and then I sign the back, and now I'm using the red metallic to frame it off again. Now I'm using some rub-ons that I got at Walmart, some flowers, got them in the clearance bin for $1. They just bring out color on the cards. I'm very happy with these cards in the long run. Set them aside to dry, and then I'll be glazing them. Okay, I've done days 7 and 8, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm ready for 7 and 8, and I finished them off. This is my ICAD index card any day, and I finished days 7 and 8. Put this away here for a minute. Here they are. This is day 7. Now I used what I'm fondly calling my embossed dripping technique on this page, and it was not as successful on the index card, I thought, as it was in the book that I showed it in, the missing piece page. I have a video of that, but I'm going to continue playing with that embossed drippage. I think it's going to be a neat technique if I can just master it. So I liked what happened, but I tend to cover it all up. I had some really nice texture in here. Some nice textures going on this page. I did not do the embossed drippage on the back. This is the back of the page. I've glazed my page so they're a little shiny. My index card, I like to glaze them. Just kind of protects them. I used Graphic 45 Couture Collection, Ooh La La, and then I used red metallic along the edges here. So I want to experiment more with that embossed drippage. You're going to see some more videos. It's very messy, but it's very fun. And here's another one. Now this one, I tried to do the embossed drippage. It wasn't working, so I got out that UT ultra thick embossing powder, And I used that, and then I crumbled it all up, and I created a texture, and I used some rub-ons here on this one, and just to see how it would work. I ended up having to put the rub-on on a piece of paper and glue it down. This is Graphic 45 again. This was a scissor stamp. This is some Seven Gypsies gaffer tape. And I really like the back. I like the back. I love the texture going on here. I did not frame the back, but I put the red metallic along, framed off the front of it. And then I glazed it. So this is day 7. And day 8. And I'm going to put them in my little ICAD, my index card any day. Trying to keep these flat as possible. Once I get them in, I don't like to take them out again. But I do like to do the back of them. If I can't get this pushed through here. There we go. Oh, I did use a rub on here. This is actually day 8, but I'm going to leave it in there. This all of a sudden became day 7 for me. How do you like that? Getting them in here is a trick in the little index holder. But once I get them in there, they're in there. There we go. Come on. Don't be stubborn. I don't want to break it. There. And this one's easier to put in because it goes in up here. Because I've put medium on these. Turn this around a little. And I help it in there. Ooh la la. And put the corner in here if I can. Get around I don't know what it's going to be. It's a little hard to get in there. There. I won't be taking that out again. There it goes. Okay. So we have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, and day 8. I'm ready to do day 9 and 10. I'm going to try to do these in 2 at a time. But I don't know when my next one will be. I know they're fun to flip through once I... did that guy come out again? I'll do that later. They're fun to flip through once I get them in there. So that is my index card, Any Day ICAD. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed watching my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next page.